Hello. Welcome back to Dudes at the Movies Talk Show. I'm your host, Mason Jusick, alongside of my co-host,
Gavin Murphy.
And as you know, we've been on the road to TENET, and that is coming to an end, because after Interstellar and Dunkirk, we'll finally reach TENET. So stay tuned for Tuesday, where we will have our TENET review, and shortly followed will be all of Christopher Nolan's movies ranked. So let's get right into it.
So we are starting today's video with 2014's Interstellar. In Earth's future, a global crop blight and a second dust bowl are slowly rendering the planet uninhabitable. Professor Brand, a brilliant NASA physicist, is working on plans to save mankind by transporting Earth's population to a new home via a wormhole. But first, Brand must send former NASA pilot Cooper and a team of researchers through the wormhole across the galaxy to find out which of the three planets could be mankind's new home. Interstellar stars Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, Michael Caine, but many more. It's a stat cast. And it's directed by Christopher Nolan, and it was written by Christopher Nolan and John Nolan. So, let's get started with the goods. I feel like we should definitely say this. Mason and I we have two different sides of this movie. I feel like we should get it out of the way now. I think I love it a lot. And I know that Mason...
Not so much.
Not so much, yeah. But either way, I feel like we should get the goods going. So,
all right.
I want to hear what you want to mention or have to mention about the goods.
Well, I think the thing that stands out most, like many Nolan movies, Hans Zimmer's score. I think very close to Inception's as like favorite of mine. It's just beautiful, and the way it enhances the scenes, I just love that. And,
exactly.
Like the sci-fi, like I don't know how to explain it, but like Christopher Nolan's like vision, the way he like carried that out, and like everything he was able to like bring to life, I think that was very impressive. Always the practical effect as well.
Yeah.
You know, this movie, no CGI was used in it. They would build sets and then digitally enhance it.
Yeah.
So that's how he got. So that's cool. More goods. Matthew McConaughey.
He's
one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
And I think he killed it.
Exactly. He does such a good job. I think he's the biggest standout for sure, and he gives so many emotional scenes that are just like, it makes the film even better in my opinion. Yeah. It's like his performance is just so good, and with everything he does in the movie, it's just breathtaking to me.
The cinematography as well.
Yeah.
Especially the cornfield chase.
That is...
With the music playing, too.
Yeah.
With the same name. That is breathtaking. And, yeah, I mean, that's...
Those are your goods?
I mean, to the eye, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, it's pleasing to watch, but...
All right, so here's where I come in. You know, this is where...
Yeah, here you go.
I want to focus on, or one thing is Hans Zimmer's score, like you said. I think it's absolutely amazing. And it's probably top 3 favorite scores of all time, I'd have to say. And probably up there, top 5 best, or maybe top 10 for sure. I think it's really good, makes scenes so much better, like the docking scene or the cornfield chase, or just the emotional scenes towards the end. The music really kind of enhances you into what you're watching, and kind of it sends chills for me. It makes scenes a lot better. Matthew McConaughey, like you said, I think is an amazing standout as the lead role, and he does so good with emotional moments. And then I think this is probably one of the best visually looking movies I've ever seen.
I think from him as well, it's the best visually.
There are so many scenes that, like, especially once you get into space, that are just like,
breathtaking.
Yeah, it's just especially, so pleasing to the eye.
The water planet.
Yeah, the mountains.
The mountains.
The mountain scene where those aren't mountains, those are waves, and then it's just so cool.
That was a great scene.
Yeah. They get to Man's planet, Dr. Man's planet. The ice planet or the cold planet, and it's just such good like scenery and setting, and then there's just all the space shots are just of course gonna be incredible. Right. Like the black hole scene is just so visually good, and even Neil deGrasse Tyson has come out and said like that's exactly how a black hole would look like, and it was extremely accurate to like depictions of what it would be. I think it's just so impressive. But I do want to get into the more divisive things we have talked about is the story.
Okay. Yeah.
So the story starts off mainly about this Earth's kind of dying, right? Earth's dying, and NASA has become broken down and separated. They're becoming hated. Earth is really changing their mindset about leaving, and they're kind of just, waiting there to die. But NASA is trying to find a way to transfer humans into the next 3 planets, right? And I feel like it's a pretty good start off. You get good relationships built out with Matthew McConaughey's character and his daughter Murph. They go on. He has to leave her, and they go out to these planets, and that's where it really gets kind of like mega or kind of huge. This is where everything starts to like impact everything. So I kind of want to hear what you have to say about this story real quick.
Well, the overall like pitch of that, like mankind was born on Earth but never meant to die.
Yeah.
I love that idea of how we have to go explore just to
the evolution.
Right? Yeah. Similar to Space Odyssey.
Exactly, yeah. I was just about to mention.
Which is the superior movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. You even know. I like that idea. Like, and it was cool. They kind of did it. I mean, the first act is all right for me. I liked it, and so far that's where we are. So,
all right. Well, then
let's get through the whole story before we talk about.
So we go on to depictions of time. They make it to the black hole, and they start going to these different planets. Right. I think the first one is the mountains or the Miller's planet, which is the water planet. Some incredible scenes there. They kind of have to transfer out. Then they go to a different planet, and then that's when they start to realize that like time is starting to change. They're 23 years in. That's when
classic Nolan loves messing with time.
Of course, and that's when I feel like it's the most emotional scene in the movie is when Matthew McConaughey.
I think that's the best scene in the movie. Actually.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I don't think we should spoil it, but
yeah, we won't say much on that.
If you see in the movie, you know.
Yeah, and then we go to the it's the second planet. We're on Dr. Mann's planet, which is a surprise cameo. We won't say. We'll keep it spoiler free, but
you're kind of walking the line a little bit there.
Yeah, I won't say. We start to learn a lot more things about like what's been happening with the whole plan, like NASA's original idea. As we kind of get 2 stories going on. We have the story of outside of Earth and everything going home on Earth with Jessica Chastain's character.
Right.
That's when they start to find out like these solutions to try and solve like how can we keep on living and how can we make it on to the next planets, and feel like that's fine without spoiling anything, right?
Yeah, I mean the whole idea is supposedly like try to find somewhere else we could inhabit. Yeah.
So
Do you have any bads?
Okay, so I feel like my only bad is I think everyone else's huge bad is it's just the concept of love being the
oh my god, the main theme of this movie is love transcends through time and space. That does not work.
Yeah, I get why people hate. I mean, first time I watched it, I didn't mind it. Second time I watched it, I still didn't mind it that much. And the third time I watched it, I realized like I could see why more people are kind of, not really liking the idea that love, especially for Christopher Nolan, like love feels like such a different theme for him to use, and
every Christopher Nolan movie like relies heavy on the theme. Yeah, like Memento, like it's kind of about like existential, questioning like his existence. And you question his too when you find out like when you piece everything together. Yeah. Then Batman Begins is about conquering your fears. Yeah. The Dark Knight, chaos. Pain and like overcoming pain in The Dark Knight Rises. Inception is kind of like time. It's like I don't know, kind of getting over, like letting go of them all. And then love for this one, like
it's definitely
makes a dope story about space.
Yeah, I get so.
And it's about the relationship between a man and his daughter.
I feel especially because they didn't expand on. They said like. the Tesseract scene, which I think it's so visually good, but here's the thing, is that it doesn't really make much sense. Like they say, they're only really not to is that they said that their future selves of them like built it for them to create love between, and that like I can see why it's just such a throw off. I mean I don't tend to mind it, or like it's still like a bad part of the movie. I get it.
That I mean yeah, I just don't like that aspect, but that's not even what throws me off with the movie.
What throws you off?
I don't like any of the characters, except for Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
You don't care enough about people on Earth.
Yeah.
Why does Matthew McConaughey only love his daughter?
True.
His son got no love.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Right?
Especially, I mean, Michael Caine's character, Dr. Brand, or Professor Brand, you think you'd like this character, and then stuff starts to unveil, and you're kind of like, oh, well, this is really just... I mean,
he was the most interesting character after...
Yeah.
Cooper. After Cooper, so...
I don't really care for Murph that much, too. Now
I didn't
that
care
you
for
think about
Murph,
it.
and Anne Hathaway was alright.
Anne Hathaway, I didn't really... Like, there was just some scenes that she did good in, but I didn't really feel, like, locked into her character. Cooper's the best character, for sure. Okay.
Yeah, which is good, because he's the main character.
Yeah,
and
that's what you need. But then there's... I mean, everything else is just, like... There's some forgettable characters. You have the... One guy dies on the mountain... mountain planet, and it was just like kind of a throwaway.
He could have easily survived.
Yeah, and then they kind of throw in I won't say, but they kind of throw in like another villain, I guess, or like
his arc was dumb.
Yeah, and he was kind of thrown in for like 20 minutes and then gone. It was kind of just like it's not, especially towards the third act. I feel like it was a little bit of a just like why are we doing that? Like it kind of feels weird. If it was in like the second act or something, I could see why. And it kind of, if it started to like change plans for how they get to the second planet or the third planet, then it'd make a lot more sense. But having them on like, oh, this is like what's happening. This is what they actually did. I know what's happening, and I'm gonna try and ruin everything. I'm like, it's kind of And, I get why. I get why people are kind of don't like that part. The characters are really not that good. Other than Cooper and Michael Caine's character.
And then, last thing, I think the end. I liked it and didn't at the same time. Cause
Which part?
The ending, the very end.
Like the ending with Anne Hathaway's character or with Cooper?
Cooper's ending. I like that.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that part. That was...
I really think I like a lot of this movie, I'd say. Like, I really like, for the first two acts... I think it's really good, and then I think it's the beginning of the third act that's kind of like
whack,
yeah. But then I do like the last like 25 minutes, 30 minutes, even though some of it doesn't make the most sense. I really like. I mean, I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah,
I enjoy watching it, and if I do think about it too much, I start to see. But I
love space movies.
Yeah.
2001: A Space Odyssey is one of my favorite movies of all time.
So good.
And so I was really excited for this movie, but and I get the whole like the relationship thing.
Yeah.
I want to make this clear, like especially how hard it is for Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't like really how it was executed, I guess.
I didn't really want love to be the main thing.
I thought it was too much. That like
I feel like if it was like a side theme, if it was like it could be a takeaway from the movie, but I don't think it's something that should be like. That's like the big theme of the movie is love.
The big thing should have just been finding somewhere to go.
Yeah, and evolution.
Right.
That's
right.
That's why 2001 does this. I mean, we're really going to compare 2001 and Interstellar.
I mean, they're the only movies you can compare.
Yeah, and it's 2001 does so good with like the evolution or the becoming, like what's next for us. And I feel like Interstellar was definitely on the right path for it until the beginning of the third act, and that's where I got lost. And then the ending of the third act I like. So I like probably 90% of this movie.
Okay, so you want to rate it?
I want to rate it.
You got the rating right over there.
I'm gonna change up our
I always
scale.
forget our scale.
Well, we're gonna change up the scale, or at least for me, I'm gonna give it a.
We're changing the scale.
I'm gonna give it. Yeah, we're gonna go with points. So 9.3 out of 10. I think I'm gonna give it.
You're getting so specific. Okay. I'm gonna give it. I'll give it a 7.
A 7?
I'll give it a 7.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.
All right. So now we're going to move on to our next movie, Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Mason?
All right. Dunkirk. In May 1940, Germany advanced into France, trapping Allied troops on the beaches of Dunkirk. Under air and ground cover from British and French forces, troops were slowly and methodically evacuated from the beach using every serviceable naval and civilian vessel that could be found. At the end of the heroic mission, 330,000 French, British, Belgian, and Dutch soldiers were safely evacuated. The movie stars Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Harry Styles, Fionn Whitehead, and Mark Rylance, and it was written and directed by Christopher Nolan.
So, I have a lot of goods for this movie. I think,
let's
to
hear.
me, this might be in my top 5 war movies of all time.
Really?
I'm sure it is. It's definitely up there, without a doubt. But then again, here's, of course, classic Nolan using concepts of time,
Right.
which is one of the biggest things I love. Because at first, it was like the first 20 minutes, I was kind of confused with the story. But then you start to see how there's 3 different stories going on. One that takes place in 1 week.
1 week, one day, and 1 hour, and they all catch up to each other.
Yeah,
And
which that is the
genius.
coolest scene, especially at the end. They have everything lines up, and it just it's the coolest scene ever at the end. The final 10 minutes when they finally unveil what's happening, it's just so cool, especially to watch. So of course Christopher Nolan does an amazing job.
Right, and
Of course, practical.
we're always going to bring up Nolan and his practical effects, but
you
to
have
avoid
to.
using CGI, he used cardboard cutouts of
Yeah, I
soldiers.
know.
So that's just, you got to give credit where credit is due.
Exactly. And there's especially the boat scene. And they filmed it late at night too, and you have the fire explosions. It looks
Oh
amazing,
my God, yeah.
and you have, actual people swimming out of the boat and trying to
The way the camera's turned.
There's so many.
Oh my God.
This is, the more I think about it, the more I'm
I
starting
think
to love
this
it.
is just...
It's incredible. More on what Christopher Nolan does. He does such a good, especially with the writing too.
Yeah, this is well written. And there's not even a main character.
Yeah.
And there's not even a lot of dialogue in this movie.
Yeah, you're really just following events that are happening. And it's kind of
Right.
It's not like it's bad. It's just
in that first scene, the shot with all the paper flying
that
around.
is one of my favorite shots of all time. With the "We Surround You."
Mm-hmm.
Another thing we studied, we mentioned in Dark Knight Rises, how we used history, but this is also something we studied. And we watched this movie, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool."
It really is a cool movie.
Yeah.
And the theme for this movie, I'd say, is surviving.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Really it.
There's just not a movie where you're there's not a lot of battle. You're just hoping they make it.
Mm-hmm. You don't even I don't even remember most of the characters' names, but I just know that you want these characters to make it out no matter what they do. They're trying to anything at all costs. They're trying to get away from war and trying to win without dying. It's just, it's every war movie does it, but it's always so good and so powerful to me. It's something I really take measure on. I really appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, it was interesting also Nolan doing a war movie.
Yeah, really, really different.
Never it's hard to picture what a Nolan war movie would be, and you watch Dunkirk, you're of course.
Yeah.
And it's PG-13,
mm-hmm.
so, and it's still just insane.
It still gives one big thing I love about war movies when they give the horrors of the war and the actual tragedies, and you'll see it with this.
Right.
How even I think within the first 15 minutes they're one guy is burying his friend in the beach, and it's just crazy to think about this and how there's so many people that are actually dying from the war. It's just so realistic and big on my take. It's something I just appreciate a lot.
Yeah, and I think this is you know how Saving Private Ryan is tribute to America.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is Nolan's version of that too, all the British troops.
Yeah,
because this is kind of that's how big it was for them.
Yeah,
and this was made or break the war, because if they took over England, that's it.
Yeah,
they would have gotten everything. This is an important one of the most important events in war.
Yeah,
and one of Hitler's worst decisions.
Yeah.
So I think this is.
And
I love the story. I just love that.
And everything's so intense too.
Like without these soldiers evacuating, that was it.
And then there's each different story. Like every single story matters. Like the one in the air, that's huge to the final parts of the movie. And it's like it cuts in at random parts of the movie, and like you're understanding like, oh, it's a gunfight going on in the sky, right?
Tom Hardy, my favorite character in the movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's his character is very, very good, and there's some...
he's in the movie for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
you don't see his face.
Yeah,
and for some reason he's such a good actor. I mean,
that part was.
And
huge.
Then the ending, his character's ending.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful. The shots in this movie are so impressive.
This is. I'm gonna choose my words wisely, but I think this might be number 1 or number 2 with Nolan's cinematography. Maybe top 3 for sure, but definitely sometimes I'll think it's number 1 and number 2 because there are some amazing shots in here, and some of my favorite shots of all time, like you said. The opening shot's one of my favorites. The ending shot's one of my favorites, and then there's so many sprinkled in between.
The shot on the beach, when he's covering his ears.
That one, oh man, that's one of my.
The way he did that, he plant the
everything
the bombs
explosive.
Everyone has to be in the right position.
Yeah. Oh, we said it once. We've said it 1,000 times. The practical effects here are just outstanding.
I mean, the shots on the plane. Yeah. Like, oh my god.
Especially on the side, and even on the beach, I saw behind the scene photos of Christopher Nolan in a suit swimming in the water.
When the plane's in the water.
Yeah.
I've seen that. They're all in the suits. And they got the that was a cool photo.
I know. Great parts. Another thing that really contributes to this, and it's figures. Hans Zimmer's score. And it's just amazing. I mean, there's not much you can say about it. There's so many great things that make this movie so intense. It's kind of the perfect score for a war movie.
Right.
It's just the first time I watched it, I was so into it because I hear the riveting sound of Zimmer's score, and it's just right behind as everything's things are blowing up and people are shooting at each other. It's just intense, and it makes me love it so much.
Yeah, it's kind of haunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any bads?
I mean, I guess it's not really I have one small bad. It was something when we were studying it. There was 2 movie comparisons. Both were at the beach of Dunkirk, and one of them was you can see. They said it was 4,000 people, or there were a lot of people on the beach. But it kind of just felt at that one point it was non-chaotic, and then there was in another movie it was at the same beach and said the same things, and it was a lot more chaotic with people screaming and dead bodies. It was just something that I have to it's a small nag.
So you're saying
the realistic aspect of it,
it was more chaotic?
More chaotic in a different on the beach.
I feel it was kind of because I don't know. They've been there for a few days now. When you start.
Well, it was more packed.
Oh, you think? Oh, okay.
It was a lot, and this one it seemed they're it was a lot more you see the lines of people, and I like that it makes for really good shots. But then I also you look the actual images. There was tents set up and a lot of people running around and body limbs are on the floor and everything.
Yeah.
But it's a small nag. But even that I still see Christopher Nolan used the fake stand up things to use for effects and everything. And it's just super cool. But that was my small nag. I really don't have much to say or hate on about this movie.
Me too.
Is that you don't have anything?
Nothing.
All right, so I feel I want to hear your final score.
10 out of 10.
You're gonna give it really?
I do. Yeah, I think it's one of his strongest films and most underrated.
Yeah, for sure. I'm probably gonna give it a 9.7.
Damn, you're going super specific today.
Yeah. Yeah, probably a 9.7 or 9.8. But this is definitely Nolan's most underrated film.
Definitely should check it out.
Yeah, I feel it should have won a lot at the Oscars.
It should have, but it was about England.
Yeah. So. But other than that, I feel that wraps it up. It's been a road to Tenet.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're finally here.
I know.
We did all these movies. Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, we completely covered everything. So, celebration time, yeah. But we've got Tenets coming. We're seeing it tomorrow on the Monday, and then we'll have the review up by Tuesday.
So, all right, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
Other than that, see ya.